Revelations 3, verse 9 through 10. Here I will give you some from the synagogue of the adversary, those who call themselves Jews, but aren't. On the contrary, they are lying. See, I will cause them to come and prostrate themselves at your feet, and they will know that I have loved you. Because you did obey my message about persevering, I will keep you from the time of trial coming upon the whole world, to put the people living on the earth to the test. Even in the time of Yochanan, writing this letter, there were those who had convinced themselves that they were Yahudim, Hebrews, Jews. But their walk was and is completely not in line with the way of Yeshua and the word of Yahuwah. Their genealogy may also well be in serious question. Are they even of the tribes of Israel? Are they even descendants of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov? Something I always, a principle of studying and as a student that I live by, is investigation before condemnation. We are to be like the Bereans. We are to first look into a matter, first weigh up the matter before we make and draw conclusions and make judgments. So there is no room to become emotive. There's no room to become impassioned about something. We must first of all examine and gather and collate all the information so that we make our judgments from an informed, well-informed perspective. In this day and age, we cannot afford to be so blinkered and so one-track minded, ignorant of information that's available to us in the public domain. So what I'm about to share with you requires patience, as Philadelphia, interestingly enough, means brotherly love that patiently endures. So we are to patiently endure with one another as we look into this matter and not just switch off our minds. So on the subject, and there's a lot of people right now speaking a great deal about the origin of the Jewish people. And the minute you mention that, minds switch off and they just close the doors. But we need to remain open and look at what history has to tell us. Not what I have to say. What does history tell us about the history of the people known today as the Jewish people? Well, many of you may have heard of this or heard tidbits, but what I'm going to share with you today is information that I would encourage you to take a look at seriously and do your own research to make up your minds as to the authenticity of today's Jewish people. Their origins are from a place called Khazaria, in actual fact. And Khazaria no longer exists anymore, but it did exist above the area known as the Black Sea and Caspian Sea. It's now been assimilated into modern day, I believe, Russia. So you can see from the map in front of you how expansive the empire, or the Khazarian Empire, was and exactly where it was located. This book, The Khazari, was a book that I can only say to you, hand on heart, Yahuwah led me to this book completely. I was just going through a library within a university, just going through, I love books, I love just spending hours in the library. I literally stumbled on this book on the shelf, and I had no knowledge of this book beforehand. And when I looked in the book and just began to read the inlay, I was shocked at what I was reading. And I share this book with you, and I'll read the inlay without any additions from myself, so you can hear what this book is all about. The Khazari, in Defense of the Despised Faith, by Rabbi Yehuda Halevi. In this new translation of the Khazari, one of the most beloved Jewish philosophical works becomes more accessible to English readers than ever before. Written by Rabbi Yehuda Halevi over a period of 20 years and completed in 1140. So this is a 12th century rabbi. 12th century rabbi. The Khazari has enthralled generations of Jews and non-Jews alike with its clear-cut presentation on Judaism and its polemics against Greek philosophy, Christianity, Islam, and Keratitism. Part historical novel, the Khazari records a dialogue between Bulan, who was the king of the empire at that time, the 8th century king of the Khazars, a powerful people occupying the region which is now southeast Russia, between the Black and Caspian Seas. And the story is told that the righteous king was plagued by a recurring dream in which an angel told him, "Your intentions are desirable to the Creator, but not your deeds." This prompted him to summon a Greek philosopher, a Christian, a Muslim, and a Jew to his palace to guide him on the proper religious path. He was dissatisfied with each theologian until he heard what the rabbi had to say. The king debated with the rabbi and finally conceded that Judaism was the one true and correct religion. History records that Bulan and his entire kingdom then converted to Judaism. Never before in Jewish history had an entire nation of non-Jews embraced Judaism. The Khazari describes the theological struggles of King Bulan and the convincing arguments of the rabbi, which led to his mass conversion, using his premise and the dialogue format as his vehicle. Rabbi Yehuda Halevi succeeds in presenting, in a passionate and convincing fashion, some of the most important fundamentals of Judaism, including the different levels of creation, how God interacts with the physical world, the holiness of the land of Israel, and the sanctity of the Sabbath and other holy days. Only 2 other English translations of the Khazari were ever published. One, originally produced in 1905, is written in an archaic style, and the other compiles the information in the Khazari by topic, but does not convey the original excitement of the question and answer dialogue between the rabbi and the king, with an introduction that includes a brief history of the Khazars and biographical information of the author. This new volume fills a gap in Jewish literature. I wonder why there's a gap. As modern readers are drawn into the centuries-old debate, they will join the Khazar king in discovering the beauty and truth and wisdom of Judaism. So this book is the smoking gun. It proves from a 12th century rabbi who was also a very adept historian that this King Bulan over the Khazarian Empire, who were not previously any part of the diaspora, they were not Jews, they were not Hebrews, they were not Israelites, they chose to convert to Judaism. Did you hear that? They converted to Judaism. And it's okay to do that. Yahuwah accepts a people who are not his people. If they live by his laws, there shall be one law for the alien and for the sojourner, for the native born and for the sojourner. So there is no, and we also have documentation from Flavius Josephus, who records no such diaspora was known to exist of the Israelites in that area. That's documented too. So the people who are living in the land of Israel have no history of migrating from Israel to Europe and then back. They began in Europe from the Khazars. They began from the spreading and migrating from the Khazars into Poland and Germany and Russia. And then they migrated. They were given a right to come into the land of Israel, Nathan Rothschild. And now they dwell in the land of Israel, claiming to be the original Hebrews of the land. And history records they're not. All I'm dealing with here, I'm just looking at history. I don't care to bash, I don't care to accuse, I don't care to degrade them. I'm just looking at the history and the facts. So if they are not the original bloodline, then where are they? Where are the real Israelites? Where are the children of Israel? They are in the world, and we do know where they are. But that's for a discussion for another time. But in this segment, I just want to clarify the truth about the present day Jewish people. And according to the writings of the scriptures, a true Jew, a true Hebrew, is one who has accepted Yeshua as their king. And that is something for all of humanity to work out within themselves.